I'm Mick McCarthy.
And I'm Tony Pulis.
And welcome to The Managers. Dyche, of course, getting sacked at Forest.
I'm absolutely convinced that we've gone the wrong way in respect of the hiring and firing of managers.
There's a question, who'll win the title, Tom? We had Liverpool.
Yeah, two of us said Liverpool at the beginning of the season, Mick.
Plenty of anger, though, at Spurs. Does it look from the outside like a broken club?
How far back do you want to go?
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget you can email us on hello@themanagerspod.com. And for all the links, you can head to themanagerspod.com. Right, Tone, lots to talk about, so let's get on with it. I think the Arsenal game yesterday was Arsenal-Tottenham, London derby. Start it there. Arsenal drew 2-2 with Wolves in the week prior to the derby. City closed the gap to 2 points, but the Gunners went on to beat Tottenham in the derby 4-1. Great result for them. It looked like a dodgy week prior to that, didn't it? What do you think?
Well, I think two things. Obviously, the bounce back and the bounce back against their fiercest rivals is absolutely fantastic for the club and for the confidence. The other thing is that it has to be mentioned, the centre forward scores 2 good goals. Yeah. And I talking to some Arsenal supporters, they weren't sure about whether he was the right fit in the team. So that's going to give them the confidence and give the kid the confidence now to push on.
Well, you and I spoke about him as well. I think if he got different service, I'm not sure he's into his feet all the time and his dexterity around that, but his power and pace and his 2 finishes there yesterday were brilliant. So, the talking points. Do Arsenal have the bottle to win the league? My view is, yes, they do, because, yes, they had the London derby, and it's supposed to be a really tough game. But Arsenal absolutely wiped the floor with them, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they were by far, well, they deserved the win. They could have won by more goals, Mick. I think the great thing about Arsenal have got players in reserve who actually fit the system he's playing. So I think if he brings someone off, he'll bring someone on who can do that job, the job that he wants. Sometimes you can have a group of substitutions or people who sat on the bench who are good players, but when you're bringing them on, the system that you want to play changes at times. I think if you look at what Arsenal have got, and this is a strength, I think, Mick, of what they've got going in the next couple of months, they've got players who actually come in, and it's not square pegs fitting round holes. They actually fit well into the shape and the pattern. He hasn't changed at all. He's kept it the same. And if he has to change, then he brings people in who actually understand the situation, the position, and what is expected.
Well, I guess we're talking about Arsenal now, but that's the complete opposite for Tottenham, because they've only got, would you have 13 fit players or something? I've been short of players a few times, but never down to 13. So that really is a hindrance to him. Finishing second 3 years in a row, it has to have an effect on him.
I think all the supporters are feeling that way as well, Mick. They're all waiting for a stumble, and Arteta's going to have to get him through. I think the confidence that he's shown.
They're all checking the wing mirror as well.
Yeah,
Man City won, didn't they? They're having a look there.
But the thing is, Mick, and you most probably would have been the same. The more difficult it became as a manager, the more confident I wanted to show I was with the players. If we were playing one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the Premiership, that week would be I would put the responsibility on myself. I'd be out on the training ground. I'd be really confident in what we were doing, how we were preparing, and confident in respect of don't worry about the opposition. If we do this, we can beat them. And that was my big thing against the bigger teams. I always felt I had to show the confidence and no fear. And I listened to him yesterday, and I listened to him after the Wolves game and all. And I seen a very, very self-confident person in respect of his team.
You certainly need that. That's, as you're putting it, the leadership of the manager. And that's where you earn your crust. Of course it is. That's where we do. When it is going badly, if you're going in on Monday morning and you're like, oh, woe is me, and you've lost on a Saturday or whatever day it is.
Oh, Mick, if you feel it, you feel it, Mick.
Yeah, but you've got to go in Monday morning, we've lost. Silly hat, red-nosed juggling routine for him to get the players going and get them back on side. For me, back in, I'm the manager. Okay, we've lost, but you've got to get back at it.
Oh yeah, massively. And like I say, I think that the way it's going, we hope as football supporters and supporters of what is, I think, the best league in the world, we hope that it carries on. The both teams keep winning, and then they've got that date in April where, Arsenal go to Man City. What a game that would be, Mick, if it was all on that. That'd be unbelievable.
Well, it's making the league more interesting this year than it's been for a while.
Massive.
So, we're talking about Arsenal, of course, and how they feel. Will Pep and City's title-winning experience make the difference?
Well, again, you're looking at Man City. They've done it all before. They've got a manager who has been through it, understands what's needed, what's necessary. So I think, which obviously I've just mentioned about, the game leading up. I think it's the 18th of April. It's what happens now between now and the 18th of April. And can they manage their teams? They're all in the big competitions. They're playing a cup final in a couple of weeks' time. So they're playing game after game after game, obviously 3 games a week. How do they manage the squad? How do they manage the players? And the big thing is, Mick, and you know this as well as me, managing yourself as well. How important it is to make sure you rest. So when you do go in the next day or the next day, and you might have a defeat, you're not going in with your shoulders round your backside. You're actually going with your shoulders pulled back and saying, come on, lads, let's get going again.
Absolutely. That's that leadership that you have to show, especially when the results have gone against you. And you mentioned it about after the 2-2 draw with Wolves, that Arteta, kept his confident stance and wasn't being woe is me. And you know what? We both know that at important times, when it's certainly not going to win the Premier League, you and I, but when you're getting promoted, you have some bad results.
Yeah, of course.
And you've got to keep your chin up and keep everybody else's up. But when you've got Pep chasing you...
He's made some good signings, without a question of a doubt. And they've added to what he's already got. He has got an absolute fantastic squad of players there. And he's got players that can come on and change the game. If you look at the two teams, they have been the two best teams this year.
If you see Pep winning at the weekend against Newcastle, he was
delighted
because he knew what a tough game it was. The second half, especially, Newcastle played well and City held on to it.
Yeah.
But you could see his reaction.
Well, Newcastle for me, Mick, Newcastle are one of the top 4 sides. They've been in Europe. It's been a new challenge in respect of the games, coming back and having to play the games that Eddie's had to get on with, the injuries they've had. But you have a look at the substitutions Newcastle are bringing on as well. They've got some absolute fantastic players who are not starting in the 11. So Pep knew that was going to be a difficult game.
He was relieved at the end of the game.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was. So we're talking about it, City v Arsenal at the Etihad on April 18th. I'm hoping it's going to be that game that decides it, or at least, maybe not decide it, but close on. It's the results between now and then, of course. And like you said, they're in the cup final as well.
Yes, yeah.
So it's 12 games. There's 12 games left to play. That is the biggest game. They'll both be looking forward to it. But you know what? All the fans will be. It's what you pick up in between now and then between that game. If you only got your eye on that one, which I know they haven't, the top managers, but other people look at that. That'll be the deciding game, and then you lose against somebody you shouldn't.
I can remember getting promoted at Stoke, and people say to me, "Oh, these were the outstanding games. All the games that we played against the bigger clubs, and this, that, and the other, and all this and all that." There was 2 games that defined that season, and they were both against Scunthorpe. One at home where we were 2-0 down, we ended up winning 3-2, and one at Scunthorpe. Again, we were a goal down, and I think we ended up winning 2-1. And those 6 points got us up. Now, if you'd have said to supporters or myself or anybody else that that Scunthorpe was going to be that hard a game, then you'd have gone, nah, they're going to walk through that and get. But those points, Mick, were just as important as when we came and beat you.
Another mention. Yeah, we had the same at Sunderland. We were winning the games. Now Gillingham came, we were bottom of the league, and played really well, and we drew 1-1 at Sunderland. Yeah. And after that game, everybody's woe is me. Then we have to go to places and get results at Crystal Palace, results at Sheffield Wednesday, 2 wins, and it looked like it was going the wrong way at one stage. So everybody experiences it. It's not just a given that they keep winning the games.
Do you think it's going to ebb and flow, or do you think they'll just go through winning most of the games, the two of them?
I think they've both had that little wobble. I think they start, because Arsenal had it.
Yeah.
And then they've won the London Derby. I think they'll carry on now and just keep winning games. Yeah. And I think Manchester City will do as well. I think they might pull away from everybody else.
Yes.
They were talking about Aston Villa having a chance. I don't think so now.
No. It's out of those two now, mate.
I think it's down to City and Arsenal. And it might not depend on the City-Arsenal game. It's what they get with everybody else. Pep seems to be dropping hints. He'll leave in May. I mean, does he have to be dropping hints? I mean, he can decide what he wants to do. What he's done at that club. I think whatever he decides to do, I think they'll be willing to accept it because he's done so unbelievably well. And he's affected the Premier League as well.
Oh, he's affected football in England. I think one of the greatest things that you can put against his name is not just winning and getting Man City to become. It's the way he's played, but everybody has followed that leader.
Yeah.
He's been well out in front in anybody I can remember in respect of people wanting to play that way. Even if they haven't got the players, Mick. they've tried to play that.
It's a bit of a mistake sometimes.
Yeah, just a little bit. But they've tried to follow that way. And he will leave an unbelievable legacy behind him when he does leave. Whether he leaves at the end of the season or whether he goes on another season, I don't know.
If he wins it again, having come back from where they were, could he do any more?
Well, I think if you look at it, if you actually look at the structure of the group as well, he's brought some very, very good younger people in now, that top players, and it's almost like building another squad.
Yeah.
And that the players he's brought in, they look fantastic when they settle into. So they look as though they're going to take it on whether Pep's there or whether he's not. But I would say, irrespective of what he does or what he doesn't do, the impact he's had on British football has just been extraordinary.
Can you imagine the legacy that he'll leave, but the void that will leave? Because all those players, the young players, have signed for Pep Guardiola. I know they're signing for Manchester City, but the signing to play for arguably the best manager.
Yeah. Well, I think that knowing him well, but not really well. I think because of the way Man City have looked after him, and because of the association he's had with the hierarchy at the football club and the way they've allowed him to run the football club, he most probably has a responsibility, Mick, to make sure that the changeover is done in a better way than maybe a few other clubs have done when they've had managers there for such a long period. And I think if you look at, Wenger leaving Arsenal, Ferguson leaving Man United, I think the big void there, what you've just talked about, was big. I think one of the things Man City will have to do, and Pep can help him enormously when he decides that he's going to move, is getting the right person to take over and keep it. So it runs in line with what he's done over the past 7 or 8 years.
It's all I do saying. So you give them time to pick the right guy. Who's the right guy to follow Pep Guardiola? You start going through all the names, and I can't even go through them and start thinking who's going to get it, who might get it if he leaves. But that person coming in knows he's got the highest level that anybody's got to live up to.
I do think, Mick, he's brought younger people in and younger players in. For the next, it's almost like another generation. He's got another group of players, or he's building another group of players to take it on. I think the person coming in, he's not coming into a dressing room where everybody, all the goodness has gone out of all the players and they're on the way down. I think there's a lot of players who've got a lot more to offer over the next couple of years. So I don't think that'll be the big thing. I don't think the squad will be. And
the staff, by the way, the staff might be a big thing.
Yeah, the staff, but also, Mick, I think the thing that's hanging over them, obviously, is this inquiry.
Yeah.
That has taken nearly 100 years to resolve.
Well, there's 100 complaints against them, I think.
Whatever happens there is important as well. But I do think He has such a great. He's had such a great relationship.
Unbelievable
there.
legacy he's leaving behind.
And he will, I'm sure, help them to put someone in place when he leaves that's going to take it on.
When he leaves. So anyway, there's the question: who'll win the title, Tom? Well, we had Liverpool.
The two of us said Liverpool at the beginning of the season, Mick.
Okay, so we're getting
it's out of those two teams, isn't it?
We're getting another
crack
now.
at it. Go on.
Well, I want Man City to win it, but I think Arsenal, having had that, like the horses doing the horse jumping, when they just clip the hooves on it, the first one, to make them jump a bit higher on the next one. Maybe that Wolves the game is that one. They've dropped the points there, and then they came back against Tottenham and were brilliant in that North London derby. I think they'll go on and win it.
Yeah, I'm as a football man. Obviously, you look at the way Man City play; absolutely fantastic. I think Man City are still a little bit open on the counter attack. I don't see Arsenal being like that. I think Arsenal are a lot more solid and a lot more resilient. And I think with the games coming up as well, and they'll be playing 3 games a week now from now until the end of the season almost. As I said before,
the cup final might have a bearing on it.
And then cup final, everything else. But I just think, the medical side of it, the fitness side of it now, looking after the players will need now managing enormously, Mick. So every time they go into a game, they go in fresh. I watched them against Wolves. I thought they looked a little bit tired and a little bit jaded. Saturday or Sunday, they were up and at it again. So it's really the preparation now. That's going to be absolutely massive.
My two
the best
mates
players
were saying it looked like they weren't trying, these two. And I said, hold on, come on, let's have it. No. So I said the cup final might have a bearing on it. Of course, for anybody thinking I'm that stupid and saying it might have a bearing on the league because of points.
Psychologically.
No, psychological, the result, the performance.
Yeah.
What happens in that game might have a bearing on however many games are left.
Yeah.
Right, so we've covered, I would say, City and Arsenal, except for one thing, of course, because you've been dancing around it. So
come on. A politician there. I've answered all your questions, but not really answered all your questions.
Yes, you'll get a job in Parliament somewhere, you mate. Come on, give us one.
It's so tight.
I know it is, but the one or the other.
I'll go with you, Mick. Arsenal.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if your team goes 2 goals up, you win. Job done. You're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this also means that we need to reconsider some crucial games across your careers, Mick and Tony. In fact, I'm going to take you back to the Britannia Stadium, Halloween 2009, the first time Mick McCarthy meets Tony Pulis in the Premier League. Stoke go 2-0 up, but Mick, your Wolves team come back, draw 2-2, and I'm sorry, Mick, I'm taking the point off you because of BOYLE Sports' new laws. I'm afraid Stoke won that game. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go. So get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they go on to win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only, applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Next to the battle to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's really looking like a three-team battle between, I can't believe I'm saying this, by the way, between Tottenham, Nottingham Forest and West Ham to stay up. Who would have thought it? Champions League, and they're in the scrap to stay in the league. So, talking points. Firstly, I mate Dyche, of course, getting sacked at Forest. The third manager they've sacked this season after Nuno, Ange and Dyche. Thoughts on that, mate?
I'm absolutely convinced that we've gone the wrong way in respect of the hiring and firing of managers. I think the time frame now is what is it? a year and 4 months, and then people are under pressure.
Well,
which is
the league's
absolutely,
it's only 10 months, isn't it?
Yeah,
the league, and there's 4 of them.
Yeah, there's
3 of them gone.
It's absolutely frightening how you're supposed to put something in place as a manager with such a short period of time is just shocking. And I think there's another factor to this, and that's the internet. I think that's social media. I think the pressure now from social media that's put on the board, put on the chairman, put on the directors, put on the director of football is heavier than it's ever been before.
Have you been looking at your social media platforms over the weekend?
I don't know how to get on them, Mick. Never mind looking at them.
Has Deb's not put you on them?
When I go back, I'll ask Deb what's going on.
My granddaughter will show me how to do it.
Yeah. But that is an important factor, and I think
I agree.
I think there's loads of stuff that points that way. When they drop out managers' names now and see what the reaction of the supporters are going to be like, just gives the game away immediately. They're desperate. A lot of these chairmen, and whereas years ago they would back their own judgment, I think they're looking to see what the supporters will say, or what he will say, or what that will say, instead of just picking the right man and sticking with him.
If I think they stay with Dyche, they stay up. I think they're guaranteed. I know they'll have some bad results because somebody will play, but I don't think it'll be down to him.
His record before he was relegated was good.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bad. He was gaining enough points to stay up by a country mile.
Of all the blokes to get shut off, I thought that was a very strange one.
But you talk about players. The king's dead. Long live the king.
Of course.
They move on, Mick. You know as well as I do. There's no loyalty or anything. The next manager comes in and he's the greatest thing in the world.
Well,
and until the next one comes in and he's the greatest thing. So I wouldn't take any...
He's replaced by Vitor Pereira, who was sacked by Wolves earlier this campaign. And of course I have a great interest in that, because when he came in, he turned the club around and kept them from relegation. And then the following season, when players were sold, he seemed to just lose interest in it because he'd lost some players. And I keep saying, it's your job is to do the best you can with what you've got, not whinge about what you haven't got. And he gets sacked from there, and he had a good result, didn't they, in the week in Europe, and a good performance then.
Let me ask you this then: when he was at Wolves, did he sell his best players? So if you're selling your best players, Mick,
after they stayed up,
if you're selling your best players and you're not replacing them with players as good, is that his fault, or is it, the director of recruitment or whatever they call it?
Director of everything.
A director of all the nonsense that goes on. So, the manager, all the arrows, all the guns are pointed at him. No one else. Nobody ever scratches the surface and says, well, listen, he's done an unbelievable job. Then all of a sudden, the chairman or the club decide that they're going to sell their best players. And not only are they going to sell their best players, they're going to bring 1 or 2 players in that the manager might not even have had a say on. And then all of a sudden the results don't go the same way. And the supporters then go, well, the manager's having a bad time.
I get that, but I'm going to counter that so that's happened to lots of managers where they've got to sell players. Now, I don't know whether that's the case or not, but they had to go because they're going to bigger or better clubs and a better opportunity. So if you're so upset by that, resign.
Yep.
Don't whinge about it and complain about it and let everybody know that players have gone and then results go, because that affects players, it affects the fans, it affects the board, it affects everything.
So do you think that's happened at Palace?
To a point, yeah, I do. Yeah. I think once the manager says he's leaving, then players go, well, I've signed for him, I've come in for him, and the fans then turn against him, which it appeared to be at the weekend. Yeah. I mean, it's the most successful period they've had in a long time, winning the FA Cup and how they've done. But fans don't want to hear that the manager's leaving. If he's leaving, most will say, well, get lost, sling your hook. Yeah. They don't want to have people hanging around who don't want to be there.
Yep.
And you know that, and I know that. And I just think that with Vitor Pereira at Wolves, going back to him, it went so pear-shaped so quickly after doing brilliantly and keeping them up.
Yep.
And there's a change at Spurs with the sacking of Thomas Frank. Had Frank's time come, result-based, isn't it? I look at Thomas Frank and thinking he's at a club with Brentford that's nothing like Spurs.
Well, I'll go.
And do the Spurs players look at him and think, is he managing them differently? But if that's the players that are doing it, they're getting shut a manager's hand over fist, by the way.
But Mick, you got to look at that club and go back and go back and go back. They've had some top managers, and they've had different types of managers all the way along the line. Yet they still haven't been successful. The supporters still haven't been happy. There's something deeper happening at that football club, and it needs sorting out. It looks as though someone needs to go in there and just put a bomb under it and start again. Because every time they change a manager, the manager gets a short period of time, loses a few games, and everything falls apart.
What's
again.
your thoughts on Igor Tudor then?
I don't know him. I honestly, Mick, I don't want to be disrespectful. I just don't know him. They've taken a chance by bringing someone in who hasn't. I don't think he's worked in the Premier League before, so he doesn't know what the Premier League's about. So Tottenham have taken a big chance.
Yeah, I mean, Pep didn't work in the Premier League before he came in, and he's gone and won how many titles, and there's lots of others haven't.
This lad's got 2 months to learn, Mick. He's not signed a 5-year lucrative contract where, listen, whatever you want, even if it costs £2 billion, you're going to get. This fella's come in and that's what you've got, mate. Now keep us up.
That's his gig, though. I read about him because I didn't know that much about him, so I read up on him, and his forte is going into clubs and keeping them up, rescuing them, repairing them.
This is my argument, Mick.
He's in Italy and he's in other places. He's done it.
Yeah,
I get what you're going to say. He's in the Premier League, and they are in a right mess, especially after the last game against Arsenal. Much has been made of him asking Mickey van der Ven to push up to a higher line and being ignored yesterday. What did you make of that? Let me tell you, I've had managers shouting on at me, get up or do something else. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, we're getting a batter in here. There's something going on, You're heading balls and get up. I don't want it in behind me. And I mean, I've been the other way, Tony. I've been the other way. I've been shouting on at players as well to do things.
I've had a winger, Mick, who I work with, who's a great lad and a good player. Actually went across, changed sides without me saying. And he pulled him afterwards. We won the game, so I'm happy. I pulled him afterwards. He said, "You're getting on my nerves." So I thought I'd go over the other side and get away from you. So, like you say, but that's. He was a man. He wasn't a boy. He was a man, and he was strong enough to go.
I think I told you David White in a pre-season friendly said that he's only playing one half. He said, "Mick, if you win the toss, will you kick that way first?" I went, "Why?" He said, "Because then I'll be away from Billy McNeil. So I'll be at the other side. I can't." and I get that as well.
Brilliant.
But I don't get all that. Managers on the sideline. He's coming. They're getting beat. He's screaming at him to get up, and they're saying he's ignoring him. It's just something else to beat them with that, though. That's just something else to beat the players and managers. Plenty of anger, though, at Spurs hierarchy from the fans at the moment. Does it look from the outside like a broken club?
Oh my God.
Is that a rhetorical question?
How far back do you want to go? You just keep going back and going back and going back. And like I say, they've had Mourinho, they've had Conte, who absolutely unbelievable managers who've not been able to work it out there. And
look what Conte's gone and done as well.
I honestly think, like I say, there needs, if they stay up this year, and I think they will stay up, they've got enough good players to stay up. I think it needs a real reset there. They need people to go in there who have not seen what's happened there before, look at it and clear it. And I mean clear it from top to bottom.
Well, I was going to say, it can't be just one element of it. It's certainly not the players. When they sign them, they think they've signed good players. And at times, they look like they've got good players. The manager, they keep getting sacked. Have we got a all-inclusive sporting director up above? What's he doing? I don't know. It does look like, you're quite right, a clear out's needed. But where they start with that?
Well, again, it's not.
I'm not sure.
It's quite obvious that it's not changing the manager all the time that's going to do the job there. So they have got to look a lot deeper into what's being done and what's not being done, and it's an unbelievable football club.
It is.
It's a fantastic football club.
One of the best stadiums.
One of the best stadiums, and the support,
training ground as well.
The support is just out of this world. But they've got to sort it out.
Well, let me tell you, we talked about wing mirrors before. Arsenal are looking in their wing mirrors at Manchester City, just checking because they're catching them up. What about the three that we're looking to? Well, two are not staying up. Burnley not staying up, and Wolves are not staying up. But West Ham have a chance, and they're playing well. Only one defeat in the last 6 matches. Have they turned a corner? And could you imagine? I know Chris and Nick, our two dear friends who were with us in this, if they caught Tottenham and overtook them. And let me tell you, Tottenham, they will be panicking like their players, their club.
Do you think they'll buy us a drink if that happens, Mick?
No chance, mate.
No, they're not. We're still waiting.
They're not that generous. Anyway, but you know what it's like, Tony, when you're being caught, even if it's in that second spot for promotion and third and fourth are catching you up, you're not getting the results. If you are fourth bottom, and yes, I've been there, I was there with Wolves, and you're constantly worried about their results, and it almost takes the focus off what you're doing by looking behind you. And you have to really get back at it. Say, right, this is what we are doing. Let's concentrate on what we are doing, get our results, and they can't do anything about it. I think Tottenham will be looking behind them and worrying greatly.
Do you think they'll go down?
Do you know what? I'd love to have just gone and say a straightforward no, but having seen them play yesterday against the best team in the league at the minute with Arsenal, but it could have been more. They got a battering. I'm not that confident that they'll stay up. Whereas I said a couple of weeks ago, yeah, they'll stay up, and West Ham are just going at it. But there's the other thing: you're in that third spot. Tottenham then got a good win from somewhere, and West Ham players all go like they're back to whatever points they are. I think West Ham have got a chance of catching them. Yeah, I know I'm sitting on the fence now, but I can't decide who's going to do it. But I think
it's still a lot of games to go.
It's not cut and dried, is it?
Yeah, no, it's still a lot of games to go.
Like we talked about at the top, whoever's going down, two are going down definitely, Wolves and Burnley, and it's up to the bottle of the two clubs, West Ham and Tottenham. I think Nottingham Forest maybe, and having sacked Dyche.
You hope Forest.
Don't be putting words in my mouth. It's not at all. I'm not hoping anybody goes down because it's an awful
but someone
thing.
has to, Mick.
Someone has to, yeah. Anyway, we'll wait and see.
We've just talked about managers. You just talked about the Wolves manager and him having to sell players, his best players, and then it's almost like a bomb's gone off, and he's turned against the club and turned away from the club because he doesn't feel as though he's been backed sufficiently to have and get the same results that he'd achieved previously. Do you think that's the same at Palace?
Probably, yes. Yeah, but I still go again. They'd had the most successful period under Glasner, and everybody was loving him. And he must have some say in what's going on. If you just sold him from beneath him, I mean, I guess, you think you've got a chance. You could go, hold on a minute, I'm not having that. And with the success he's had, he could have walked away and he could have resigned and let the club go somewhere else. And there'd have been a queue, I think, to take him on as a manager somewhere else. But staying on and complaining about it, I don't think is the way forward. And then saying, well, I'm going to leave. Everybody down stools, I think. Players go, well, not on purpose. You know as well as I do what players are like. You've got to keep them there and motivated. And it doesn't take a lot just to get small margins to get them less motivated. Suddenly, and of course, then they'd have lost players, which has made their team slightly less as good as they were, not as good as they were. But it's your job to do the best you can with what you've got. And I think announcing he's going to leave has had an effect on the players. It's had an effect on the club. I think his players are being sold, I think he's been treated unfairly by losing his best players and not replacing them the same. But if you're that way inclined, say I'm off. We won the FA Cup. We're doing great in the league. I can't do as well without the players. But to stay on and say I'm leaving, I don't think that's the right thing to do. And I think it's let the fans down. I saw him talking on at the weekend and he said it's about the club, it's about the fans. Yeah, it is. Because you've been at clubs and done really well. I've been at clubs that have done really well. But you're gone and you've forgotten. Somebody else comes in and does equally as well. And it was, what was that other fella who was just been in? So I don't agree with how he's done it. No.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if the team you back goes 2 goals up, you win, job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this means we need to reconsider a crucial game in your career, Tony. I'm talking, of course, about the 1999 playoff final when your Gillingham team were 2 goals up with 5 minutes to play. Obviously, that means, in the eyes of BOYLE Sports, you have now won the Second Division playoff final, 1999. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And also, West Ham won the 2006 FA Cup final, which is great. And commiserations to Liverpool for not winning the 2005 Champions League. And obviously, now Gillingham have won the 1999 Second Division playoff final. Commiserations to Nicky Weaver and Manchester City. Yes, get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only. Applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus. T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Mick, with all your experience and being a Celtic legend, tell me what's happening up there, Mick.
I'd like to know, but I've got an opinion on it, of course. I mean, having
deal with Celtic.
Well,
first.
less Celtic. You know, that's close to my heart. So, having lost Brendan, Brendan's gone, and they get Martin O'Neill in, and he does brilliantly. And then they employ Wilfred Nancy from the States. Nobody knows. I mean, he cannot have any idea of what Celtic and Rangers and the Scottish Premier League can be about. I saw when he came in and he lost a few games, and he said it's not about it's about the process, not about the result. Bells were ringing in my head, thinking, no, it's the result up there. Nothing matters. Nothing matters how you play, what you do. You've got to beat Rangers. You've got to win the title. So to hear him say that, and then of course he lost 6 out of 8 games or something. Martin O'Neill's come back in. I mean, he must keep his slippers up there in the hotel, Martin, every time. But he's gone back up, and then they were defeated. 2-1 home defeat to Hibs at the weekend. That's really, kicked them where it really hurts. So they've lost as many games this season as they did in the previous 2 seasons combined. It feels like the club needs an overhaul. How are they going to do that? They've tried to do it with Wilfred Nancy, but Martin. Yeah. I mean, he did brilliantly, went back in, but then it's an impossible task. And they've been bashed in the last 2 games. They were bashed in Europe, and they've lost to Hibs at the weekend.
I've never worked up there, Mick, but I've always been absolutely amazed and overawed at times at the amount of support that follows Celtic and Rangers. And there seems to be a split in respect of the supporters and the board at Celtic. And I watched the game midweek, the European game. And, this is my opinion, the supporters throwing the balls on the pitch before the game starts or as the game started, I thought was really disappointed. For all their issues that they might have with the board and they might have with the football club and the way it's run now, as soon as that whistle blows, you want your supporters behind your team. You want your supporters 100%. Now, when the game finishes and you've given them what, because the big thing up there, whether you're playing, at Ibrox or at Celtic, the big thing up there is they make and can make such a difference to the team's performance. Yeah. And I thought, again, watching the game, Mick, it was really disappointing that happened just before the game. It was such a negative to me, and I'm miles away wanting Celtic to win. Absolutely miles away from it. And I thought it was a real disappointment.
I didn't see it, but it affects the players. Have you ever been to a game where that's happened? I was down watching Charlton once, and they all threw them on, and the game was it didn't get going for ages. I had it with when I was second time with Ireland. We're playing, and the balls came on the pitch. And you can see everyone goes, lads are kicking balls off the pitch. It has an effect. And I think it does have an effect on the performance, because one, you've got them in at a certain time. They've all been fed and they've all gone through the nutrition. They've all come through the warm-ups. They've got them ready to go, and then that happens. And it really does.
My big thing.
But I'm not. Let me just tell you, I'm not going to blame the fans because still the players have got to perform, and the fans seem to have. They've got the beef, not with the players. They've got the beef with the board.
Well,
and the hierarchy.
what I'm saying is that they've got a beef with the board of directors. They've got a beef with the way the club's being run away from the football side of it. But as soon as the football starts, that team needs their supporters.
Yeah.
That's you've been there, I've been there before. You get a group of supporters behind you, and it pushes you on and helps you enormously. Especially, you're talking about how many people, 70,000 people there, screaming their heads off for you.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, and that was a disappointment for me. Obviously, the result was really poor for Martin, but that disappointed me, Mick.
But then so we've talked Celtic. I mean, we know. Well, I know more about that than any other two, but Hearts have been so steady throughout the season. Do you expect the nerves to come in now as they're so close to making history? Of course, because for them to beat Celtic and Rangers to a title would be just immense, incredible. If
he's done a fabulous job there, Mick.
Oh, yes.
Unbelievable job.
Of course, he's had Brighton. They've got their same recruitment process, apparently, of their firm they use. And it looks like they've done well, as have Brighton. But Hearts have had they've had a great season so far. And if they win it, I mean, to beat Celtic and Rangers would be monumental for them.
Yeah. Well, I'll go on to Rangers and we talk about, I had them to beat Livingston in my team, so I'm very disappointed with them.
I was thrilled. I know
thrilled.
You was. Yes,
But Danny Rohl has done an unbelievable job there. When he's taken Russell Martin's place. I think they've lost only once since he's come in. He's much more.
And I think it's Hearts. They lost the other week at Hearts.
They are more pragmatic. They look a lot more organised as a team. They get up and down the pitch together collectively. Same old stuff, Mick, a bit dinosaurish, but they do look as though they're a team now, and they've got momentum. I know they'll be very, very disappointed they didn't win at Livingston. Should have had a penalty at the end, I think, but it wasn't given. But I do think it's such an exciting end of season as well. North of the border. I think those three clubs, toss a coin for me.
They should have had a penalty, of course, down to you, because it was one of your predictions, and they didn't win. They drew 2-2. And I was delighted. I'm watching it, they're 2-0 up. Livingston are 2-0 up, and then the referee sends one off, and I'm thinking, that's a joke. I thought, I'm now worried. So I was delighted it was a 2-2 draw. But yeah, he has turned it around completely. And the only time they lost was against Hearts, and Hearts were flying. Celtic play Rangers next week. That's going to make a difference in who's going to win the title.
Well, the one thing about that game, that Old Firm game, Mick, is the fact that Celtic have to go to Stuttgart. Now that they're out of it anyway. It'll be interesting to see what team Martin picks to go there, because he'll know on Sunday he's coming back, and he's got most probably the biggest game of the season. Well, against Rangers.
I've done it before where I picked a weakened side, as you know, and got pelters for it. But if I'm Martin, those games, we've talked about that before, the stats on playing Thursday night.
No, I know.
And travelling and coming back, it's something like 50% more chance of losing that game on the Sunday. So it's a ridiculous stat, which is from years ago when I was at Ipswich, I found that stat. But I'm going to Stuttgart, and I'm not playing all my best players.
Yeah.
And that might be bad now, saying, because Celtic fans are going there, they all want to win. But if they can't qualify for anything from that game, Rangers. Rangers is the game you've got to win.
That's the question I was going to ask you. If you threw this open now to the majority of the Celtic supporters, and you said to them, would you be annoyed and disappointed if Martin played a weakened team in Stuttgart but kept all his best players for the Sunday? Or are you quite happy if he does that?
I'll tell you what it'll do. It'll be determined by the result after the game. No, I think they would want them to play the best team that's not gone and played 90 minutes on Thursday night and had a rip-roaring game in Stuttgart. You might go there and win that. It doesn't make any difference. The difference is they can still win the title if they get on a winning run, but they've got to beat Rangers. And they've got to beat Rangers because they lost the last one 3-1 when they were playing brilliantly, and they should have been 3 up, maybe 4 up. Missed chances, keeper made saves, and then as soon as they get one back, you could just see it happening.
Well, I went to...
So Rangers is in the... I'm telling you, Rangers is in the important game in Celtic's calendar this coming week.
We were in Europa League, and we got through... I played Valencia at our place, got beat 1-0, and our form had dropped a little bit in the league. And on the Saturday, the Sunday, we had a massive game against Norwich, who were down in the bottom 3 or whatever. And we got beat. Valencia were a good side then, and beat us 1-0 at our place. And I went to Valencia, and I played a weakened team. I almost changed all the players. And we came back, and we had a great performance. We got beat. The referee I wasn't very happy with him on 2 or 3 occasions.
You didn't get fined and reprimanded, did you?
No, again. But we played exceptionally well and got beat. The game against Valencia at our place, we didn't play exceptionally well. When I came back, I got criticised for not playing the strongest team. Yeah. And my argument was, yes, you're right. What I should have done was pick the team that played in Valencia to have played Valencia at the Bet365 stadium. And that kept quite a few people quiet.
All right. Interesting view on that. See, I never thought of that when I did it. So anyway, having said all that about Hearts, Celtic and Rangers, who's going to win it? Who's going to win the title?
Go on, Mick.
I'm having Celtic because I daren't say anything else. Let's just clear that up.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping and praying that that's the case. And I'm not backing, and you can say whatever you want, I'm not backing Rangers and Hearts to beat Celtic. No chance.
Well, I think we'll finish on that.
So you're still not giving me your opinion?
Celtic, of course.
So, Tone, we'll talk about one of your clubs, your longest spell, 6 weeks at Sheffield Wednesday. They've been relegated, and I watched the game the weekend with the lowest points, I think, earliest relegation ever. What's your thoughts?
If I was wanting to get into football and I had billions to spend, one of the clubs I'd look at would be Sheffield Wednesday. The enormous potential that football club has is just frightening. The supporters, even the game against their rivals, the supporters turn up. They know the club are going to go down, and they turn up and they get behind the
fans were brilliant
at
the weekend.
They're just unbelievable. The club needs complete. I mean, we talked about Tottenham. The club needs completely ripping up and starting again.
I think they've got buyers coming in.
The training facilities, the investment in the academy, the investment in the first team, and everything else. It just again, someone come in with a clean sheet and just start again. It's an absolute fabulous football club.
It is right for somebody with a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot. You need a lot of money to come in there and set it off. Once you set it off, that is a club that is one of the biggest clubs in the country, and I'm not saying that lightly. I
agree. I mean, I played down the road at Barnsley for a long time. Sheffield Wednesday were always that big club. Went to watch games in the cup final replays and all that at Hillsborough. An amazing place.
Just one point. Talking about yourself, younger. I watched the game on TV on the big match on early morning. I wake up early and go down to my little gym, and it was Barnsley against Enfield, and there was this big, ugly centre half, but he had a caterpillar on his top lip.
Oh yeah,
and I couldn't believe it.
You're kidding me on.
How did you get on in the replay?
Oh yeah, it was at Spurs ground. It was at Tottenham's old ground, White Hart Lane. I went down there. We won 3-0, thankfully. But
can you remember the game?
Oh, remember it both games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Enfield came up and we drew it up well.
Yeah.
And I mean, can you imagine all that? And we'd been doing well as well.
No, I know. Yeah.
And then we go down there and it was a tough old game. I can't tell you how bad the pitch was as well. And the ground was being renovated.
That suited you then?
Absolutely did. I could head it and kick it, no problem. But the pitch was you can't. You've watched the pictures now. There's nothing. It was a mud heap, and we were changing in the. It was being developed the ground, so the dressing rooms were prefabs up above.
Yeah, I can remember.
So we turned up, and it was ripe for a. And I remember it even more because Ian Evans' wife gave birth to her second child that day as well. While we
my
were
big
going
mate,
down. And he played.
My big mate was playing. Trevor was playing up front. Trevor Aylop.
Oh, happy days, Tom. Well, that's a blast from the past, that. And I still had a tash there.
So my predictions for this week, Mick. I'm going for Bromley to beat Accrington. Bromley are flying at the moment. Didn't have the greatest result last week, as you found out. So I'm backing them to win that game. Home game. It's very important for them. And then I'm going up to Scotland. Rangers and Celtic will drop points. Either one team will drop points or they'll both drop points. Hearts are playing Aberdeen. I'm going for Hearts to beat Aberdeen. It's a massive game, this one, for Hearts. With the Old Firm playing, they know if they can pick up 3 points, they're going to isolate one of the teams even more. So I'm going Hearts there. Then I'm going for Cardiff. I think Cardiff had a real shock result at Plymouth Saturday. The next trip is, you're going from one end of the country to the other. They're going up to Doncaster. But I think, they will win that game. I really do fancy that Cardiff will be a lovely pitch up there, big pitch. Cardiff play through the pitch and have got some really good players. I think Cardiff will win that game. And my last one, and I most probably won't be allowed to come back into this studio, is to bet Liverpool to beat West Ham at Anfield. Liverpool have had some good results of late. They want to keep it going. I think it'll be a tough game because I think Nuno has got West Ham more set up now to go to places and be solid enough to nick results. So, but I'm going for Liverpool. The £10 returns £55.79, including Acca Boost from BOYLE Sports.
My predictions, Premier League I'm going at, which is always a bit of a tester for me. But anyway, here we go. Bournemouth to beat Sunderland. Bournemouth are unbeaten in 6. They seem to be they're playing well. They're on an unbeaten run. Sunderland, I just wonder if, and I'm kind of, you hope not with Sunderland, but they seem to be they've been on a great run. They've been going places and winning. They just look like they've got 36 points. I think they're almost safe. I think players relax a bit. They look a bit tired because they have worked their socks off to get where they've done. And Bournemouth are a good side. I just wonder, is it going to be one of those where Sunderland respond against the Arsenal, against Man City, against the bigger teams? They go down to Bournemouth, and I think Bournemouth are a good side. I think they'll beat them on the weekend. Manchester United beat Crystal Palace. We've gone through what we think about Crystal Palace, and Oliver Glasner saying he's going. I think that's having a massive effect on them. They got a great result, yes, over the weekend. Got a win against Wolves. But Manchester United under Michael Carrick are just a different proposition. And I think them at home are going to beat Crystal Palace. Coventry, they've had a little bit of a bad run, but a great result there at the weekend. Coventry to beat Stoke. Stoke are not going great. They're down near the bottom of the league. And I think Coventry now, having had that bad run, you get through it, you get a great result. I think they'll kick on and they'll get promoted. So Coventry to beat Stoke. And then I've got Crewe to beat Tranmere. Tranmere have won 1 in 9. They've had a really bad run of results. In fact, they go win, lose, win, lose. So I'm going for a loss against Crewe. Crewe to beat Tranmere. Crewe are up, I think, in 6th place. So I fancy them to beat them. £10 returns £92 and 16 pence, including the Acca Boost from BOYLE Sports. That's it for this week. So don't forget, if you want to email us with any thoughts or questions, you can get us via hello@themanagerspod.com. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, Mick.